Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Solicited Advice. I am really excited to be joined by a guest this morning. We have met just briefly on a Zoom call. We were collaborating, so to speak, in the comments of someone else's live stream and got on a Zoom call. And now we are having our own conversation live here on Substack. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining, and I apologize for running a few minutes behind, but technology. That is not my strong suit, okay? So I'm never pretending to be well versed in tech because it just definitely isn't my thing. Now, if you want me to speak and say whatever's on my heart, I definitely can speak on a dime, but all that technology stuff is just not for me. But I'm really excited about our conversation today because we are actually discussing the power of collaboration and how it's the new currency. Now, for many people who have been collaborating in their businesses, this is just something that's not even new. Right. It's kind of like old school. I mean, we're like maybe late to the party for this particular conversation, but it has been a game changer in my life. And so, my guest is working out some technology challenges in the background, but I'm inviting her again. But I want to introduce myself. I'm LaChelle, also known as America's Supermom, mother of 15 children, and I am a mental health strategist. And I'm excited to be here with my co host today that we just got on a Zoom yesterday and we just said, hey, let's go live. So I have Coach Carrie with me today, and we are talking about collaboration. We were on a Zoom just getting to know each other, and we just saw the synergies around this topic of collaboration. So, before we get into the conversation and all the good nuggets, I want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, Coach Gary.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me okay?
Loud and
All
clear.
right, two thumbs up. So we're having some technical issues. I never go live from my phone, but that's what collaboration is about. It's just about jumping in and doing what has to be done. So I have an entire studio, but I am not in my studio right now, but I didn't want to miss this opportunity. So I am Coach Carrie. I am a keynote speaker. I consider myself a collaboration and visibility expert. And I just want to talk about how to get invited to be a guest speaker. I got 10 invitations in 1 week. And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
I love it because, people just think, oh my gosh, 10, this is just like something supernatural, where you sometimes pay to play or, you're just well known. And so this happens. So tell everybody, we're just going to dive right in. How did you manage to get on 10 guest spots in a week?
So what happened is I didn't even know that you could go live on LinkedIn. I just happened to see a red dot one day and I was like, you can go live on LinkedIn. And so I went to this event, and while I was there, I just believe in active engagement. And so I was typing in the comments. The conversation was so interesting that my first move was to type in the comments. Um, because I know when you're live and you're on there by yourself, or even if you have a lot of people, engagement is really, really important to me.
Mhm.
On social media, that's how you connect. That's how the speaker knows what the audience is thinking. And so
Mhm.
as they're talking, I'm just typing in the chats. And then a young lady from LinkedIn named Christy Williams, she came into my inbox and she said, you were so engaging in the comments. That was really, really nice how you participated. And I think that you should meet these people. So she introduced me to a group of people, which includes our mutual friend, right?
Mhm.
Melanie. And from there, it just blossomed. I got added to a carousel. I try to go to as many events as possible. I actually have an engagement day. And so, what I do on Engagement Day, Lachelle, is I make sure to go to people's live events who are a part of my circle, right? And
Mhm.
by circle, I mean that the line doesn't end. I go to their events, they go to my events, right? They
Mhm.
go to my live events. They reshare my events. They're active in the comments. I reshare their events and I'm active in the comments. I always say either you have a circle or you have a cage. And who wants to be in a cage? And so
I love
we
that.
met on Melanie Richards' show, and we're doing what's called no pitch coffee chats. So we did a no pitch coffee chat. We jumped onto a Zoom yesterday
Mhm.
and we shared a little bit about what we both do and about who we are. And I noticed on your calendar that you had an event for tomorrow. You were just sharing with me the different amazing things that you've done. And I said, well, who's your guest for tomorrow? You said, I don't have a guest. And I said, well, it's a guest show. You got to have a guest. I'll do it. Okay. And here I am.
I love that. You mentioned the first thing that I think a lot of people don't recognize the value in, and this is making comments
Yes.
when people are doing live streams, because it actually is an event. You are actually getting the attention of this person live in real time. I
Hmm.
remember when LinkedIn first started these live broadcasts, there was a coach. Well, actually, she's a doctor, Natalia. I'll have to put her information in the chat, but she was a part of the beta program when LinkedIn was first doing live broadcasts where you could be on video. And I was just engaging in the comments, and she was like, America's Supermom. Oh my gosh, how many kids? And so what happens is you begin to be a part of the conversation as they read the comments. Well, I knew that I had her attention while I was making these comments, and I asked her to be a guest on my podcast in the comments. Now, this is somebody at the time who had like, I don't know, 60,000 followers or something. And I knew I would not be able to reach her in her DMs. So I took that opportunity in the comments to engage with her. And
Hmm.
she was a guest on my show. I was a guest on her show, all because of the comments. So I think a lot of people feel like this is not a glamorous thing. You know, what are some other ways that comments have changed the narrative for your business or helped you and move forward?
So, one of the things that the comments do is give you a way to show people what you're thinking. You can show them that I agree with you, and you can also show them that you have a different opinion. But what it does is it says that I value you as a person and I value this conversation and I value your time. When I was a little girl, I didn't watch a lot of television. And my father, he kind of messed it up for me because he was like, why are you sitting here watching these people? Sorry about my background and all the shaking. I'm trying to
Oh,
hold
no,
my
you are
phone.
good, girl. I love the
And
books. I'm a bookaholic, okay?
that's a
So
backdrop too, girl.
I
It's
know,
just a little, it's hanging up, okay? About thin thread, about thumbtack, okay? Keep it real. But my father messed me up. He was like, you're watching these people on television. They're getting paid for that. How much are you getting paid? I was like, I'm only three. Like, wait a minute, right? But that stuck with me. You'll be amazed at the things that stick with you. So that actually stuck with me. And one of the things that I used to do as an adult, and I was like, Daddy can't tell me what to do now, is I would binge watch shows. But I
Mhm,
still wasn't getting paid. And that voice just kept ringing in my head. And I said, well, if I can binge watch a television show, and nothing against television, right? I love it.
mm,
Well, but the other thing that I can do is I can binge engage. And so I make sure to have a time set aside on my calendar where I can actually purposefully, intentionally engage with people in the comments. And then if someone seems to resonate with me in the comments, I'll send them a connection request. Remember, this started on LinkedIn. So I'll send them a connection request. And then I have a message that I send. It's a standard message that says, I'm looking to expand my connections. I'm looking to expand my circle with no pitch coffee chats. I would love to learn more about what you do and how I can be of support. If you have a link, send it to me. Because I find that a lot of people jump into your DMs and the first thing, they don't even say hi. The first thing that they do is they jump in, hey, I got this great business opportunity. You want to be a part of it? You be like, wait a minute. And so I try to do it the same way that I would do walking down the street. I wouldn't
yeah.
meet a young man and say, hey, how you doing? Let's get married today. Wait, what? Can we court a little bit?
I love
Can we
it.
date
I
a little
love
bit
it.
in the comments, in the DMs? And
How
so a lot of people go straight from hello to marriage.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And, you also brought up another time saving tip. I do the same thing. I have a script that I give for different things, right? When LinkedIn started having audio rooms and live broadcasts, I would send messages to people that were already written, and it really captured what it was that I was trying to accomplish, whether they had a great takeaway or
Mhm.
I loved their conversation and wanted to hop on a Zoom. A lot of people take too much time to think about how they're going to respond. But if you have a template or a script or something, it helps you to keep that momentum going in real time rather than trying to start from scratch all the time. So, Mike is on and he's saying he's loving the glasses.
Thank
So we
you.
appreciate that.
Yes, we
And you were
do.
on with Mike, so talk to us about that show. Weren't you on with him last night?
I think I may have been on as this is Mike LeBlanc I'm thinking
Yes,
of.
that's correct. Yeah,
So that's another show. We were
right.
actually on Keith Miller's show last night. We were just talking about how to use Substack. You see, apparently I must have blanked out on a few spots, okay, because I wasn't together this morning. But some of us are learning how to use Substack. And so that was the conversation. But that's another person that I met on LinkedIn. Went to one of their live shows. We connected, and now we do things on YouTube. We're doing things on Substack. We're doing things on LinkedIn together. And it really is a family. I think because the pandemic had so many people at home that a lot of people realized even more so the value of social media, but also the value of connectedness. And so a lot of people who may live at home alone, who may work from home, this is just another opportunity to actively engage. And I love it because you get to see people's faces and you don't feel so isolated. And so I work from home. I have my own business. And so this is just a great opportunity to really, really, really connect with people, to find out what people have going on, and to support people. And I know you even mentioned yesterday that some of the people you met online, you all have actually now met in person and taken some trips
Mhm.
together, which I think is amazing.
Absolutely. Yes. We were talking about our clubhouse meetup where we have a community there, and we got together in Jersey at the beginning of the year. And we went to a Broadway play in New York. We went to a team building exercise at a cooking school. And I was actually able to meet Melanie Robert Richards that we were doing the live stream, in the comments with. So the power of collaboration, I think, has been a game changer for me because I was an only child and I was raised with a high performance background of feeling like I had to do everything myself in order for it to be right. Asking for help was a sign of weakness. These are all things that I kind of grew up believing and telling myself. And it wasn't until I had a unfortunate struggle with depression for 13 years and three hospitalizations that I realized that doing it alone was just not a good way to do things, right?
Right.
I had to learn to um, ask for help and realize that I just didn't have to be great at everything, right? I just had this perfectionist mindset. So for people who are at that place where, it's hard for them to admit what they don't know, ask for help, what advice would you give them around getting started with collaboration?
Well, one of the things that I would say is just go to the live events and actively engage in the comments. See, the nice thing about actively engaging in the comments is that it doesn't matter if you're an introvert, an extrovert, an ambivert. You can actually just engage in the comments. You don't have to show your face. And you can start with something as simple as checking in from name your state and tell the weather. That's how I started.
Mm.
I said my name. Most of the time they can see your name. You don't even have to say that, okay? It's a little redundant. But I said, hey, this is Coach Carey checking in from Indiana. It's freezing cold out here. I think that was my first comment. And most of the events that I go to, that's the first thing that they ask you to do. So just say your name, say what state you're living in or what township that you're living in, because I've met people from Australia. Keith
Mhm.
Keller actually lives in Australia. And so
Mhm.
I've had conversations with people from the United Kingdom, people from Australia, all across the continent. It doesn't matter. You just say where you're from, and then you tell us the weather, right? A lot of us are
Mhm.
dealing with snowstorms. Some of us have really, really nice weather. And so it's just nice to see where everybody is from. It really makes you feel more connected. And
I
then
love it.
usually the next thing is just tell them that you've appreciate them adding value to the airwaves. I
Mhm.
appreciate that you're adding value to the airwaves because there's so many negative things going on in media. And so I appreciate authentically and genuinely when somebody is online, on live, and they're saying something that might help somebody else. And
Mhm.
then I listen to the speakers attentively. I'm not multitasking. A
Okay.
lot of people are multitasking, and you might be driving or cooking or doing things like that, and that's okay. Make sure you're safe now if you're driving. And so, what I tend to do is I'm actively listening. And when the speaker says something that authentically resonates with me, which apparently is a lot because I have a lot of comments. Um, so, when they say something that resonates with me, I put a comment, I'll respond to their statement. Hey, you were right when you said, and I don't just say, hey, you're right, because once the live ends, then hey, you're right has no meaning. So I'll attach something that they said to my comment. Like, you know what, LaChelle, you were absolutely right when you said that we met, and I'll tag Melanie Richards in the comment. So now she gets some visibility. So I'm very big on making sure that my comment is something that somebody said from the stage. And then if there's somebody that's relevant from the stage, that's a mutual connection, I'll tag them in the comment section as well. Now
I
on LinkedIn, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was saying that's good. Mike is saying, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Listening is the beginning of collaboration, and that is so true. But go ahead.
That is true. Mike is absolutely correct. Listening is the beginning of collaboration because if you're not listening, then you can't put relevant comments in the comment section. And so
Mhm.
once I have introduced myself and my state and my weather, and I've listened to what they said, like Mike said, that's the beginning, and I make a meaningful comment attaching what they're saying in the comment section, then when the live show ends, because everybody's schedule is different, I try to do it right away, but I go back on LinkedIn. It's nice because they show you all of your comments and you can scroll past that. And then they show you all the comments that other people made. Now, if somebody has made a comment that resonates with me, not just the speaker from the stage, but the other guest, I'll respond to the guest comments on
Mhm.
LinkedIn. Now,
Mhm.
LinkedIn also has, when you're at a live event, they have a section called network. Well, what you on
Mhm.
there for, right? Because your network is equal to your net worth. And so
Amen.
what I do is I go to the networking section, and if the person has an opportunity to connect, I'll send them a connection request. Now, the
Mhm.
question usually comes up, should I send it with the note or without a note? I don't send it with the note.
Oh.
Now, most of the time it's because you have to have a paid LinkedIn account, and I didn't find value when I was paying LinkedIn my little money, okay? So I didn't find value in that part. I'm just gonna be honest. Now, some people like the little gold LI logo, and that's fine. Some
Uh-huh.
people are using it for different purposes. I'm not saying it doesn't have value. I'm saying I didn't find value in it personally for networking.
Mhm.
So on the networking section, if they have a connection, I'll send that. If they only have the opportunity for me to follow them, I'm less likely to reach out because I don't want to follow you. I'm not a puppy. I want to connect with you.
Mm. Mm.
So
That's
if it
good.
just says follow, baby, I'm skipping over it. Okay, not a puppy. So I will connect. I'm there for connections, and so
Yeah.
I send the connection request. And once they accept, and normally when you connect with someone, now this the part where people don't judge me because I'm just telling you like it is. Okay, Mike, I'm trying to be transparent. I'm
He
telling you
loves
like
it. He
I'm
said
telling
he
you what I
loves it.
do.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
So this part don't judge me on my next sentence. What
Okay.
I do is I send the connection request, and typically what happens is somebody that writes a newsletter, their newsletter will pop up
Mhm.
for, and they have not accepted my connection request. I'm not subscribing to your newsletter. until you accept my connection request. Now, it might be petty. Okay, don't judge me. It
Mhm.
might be a little petty, but I feel like I'm going to subscribe to the newsletters of the people that I'm connected to. And so
Mhm.
once they've accepted my connection request, I have 5 of them this morning, I'll go back in and then I will subscribe to the newsletter. Now, I don't just get the newsletters. I actually read them
Mhm.
and I actually will leave a comment as much as possible on the newsletters, on their posts. If they're having a live event, I try to share the live event because now we're connected. You are a part of my circle
Mhm.
once we've connected. Now, I don't share everybody's everything.
Mhm.
We have to have a coffee chat, a no pitch coffee chat where you send me your link. I'll send you my link. We can meet on Zoom. We can meet on Google Meet. We can meet on Teams. I can
Mhm.
send you a StreamYard code. You can come through the back office. But we have to connect face to face and your camera has to be on. I don't
I
care if you
love
have on
that.
your pajamas. You got to have on some clothes because it's not that type of party. But okay, wait a minute now. Wait, is this
I
grown
love
folks
it.
conversation? But
I love
what
it.
but what I want you to do, I want to see your face. I want you to know that I'm a real person. I want to be
Mhm.
able to look into your eyes. They say your eyes are the windows to the soul. And I want to know what you do. I rarely talk about myself on the no pitch coffee chat.
Mhm.
I'll talk about myself typically when people ask, and I rarely talk about my business. I'm a retirement specialist and I work with school districts. However, most of the people I'm meeting with are not school district professionals or school district employees. And so I contract directly with school districts and entrepreneurs. And so I really just want to know, what do you do and how can I help you?
I
One
love that.
lady got on the coffee chat. She just needed help because she said there's so many LinkedIn events, and I love her. She said there's so many LinkedIn events. Can you just help me with my calendar? Absolutely. So we got on with the purpose of me just helping her with her calendar and learning more about her. I helped her to get her calendar set up. I showed her how to go to LinkedIn and click on the events. You want to add the events to your calendar so that you get the reminders. That's how
It's
I know
true.
I have intention to show up. If it's not on my calendar, I'm not doing it.
You have given us a master class, and I hope people were taking notes. I even love the point that you bring up around the event itself. So, in
Mhm.
the event, it tells you the details of the event. It lists the speakers, but it also has a section that is a networking section. And there you can connect with the people who registered to be at that event. This is how I grew my network a lot as well, because people would sign up to attend an event, and when they do that, it allows you to communicate with them, sometimes even if you're not connected or following them or things like that. And I would say, oh my gosh, that was a great event. I love that point about X, whatever it was. What was your takeaway? And I was able to send that script to everybody that I thought was somebody I wanted to connect with that was in the networking section. So you brought that to the table. And I think that also was another good point, because we sign up for these events, and a lot of the features that we have on some of these social media platforms, we're not even aware what's on there. We don't recognize all the value, the gold that they give us, that we don't even see that's right in front of us. And it does take work. I like how you mentioned that you set aside time in your calendar, because it just doesn't happen on its own. It's like farming. You have to plant the seeds, you got to water them, you got to till the ground, you got to harvest them, rinse them off, take them in the house. All these different things has to be done. And if you're not doing it, you should still have a routine of how it's getting done if you're having a VA do it, or a personal assistant or somebody like that. Now, my last question is, when you think about collaboration, a lot of people don't have a problem collaborating across industry. So if I say, oh, I'm a keynote speaker, I know you're one as well. I love to collaborate with people who do filming or photographers or stuff like that, right? But when you have people who are in your same industry, share with us the value that we can still bring for people that everybody on the outside would think that they are competitors.
Well, here's the thing. People used to say, when we compete, we all win. No, we don't. Okay. People also used to say, there's another C word, and I won't bring that one up. The point is to collaborate. I don't care if you're in the same industry or if you're in a different industry, in particular in finances.
Mm,
Sometimes people are afraid, like, oh my God, they're going to get my client. Well, there's over a billion people on the planet. So I'm never afraid because what's for me is for me.
that's true.
And you may be able to help somebody in a way that I'm not able to help someone. So I have a meeting. I did a coffee with a young man who's in the financial industry, but he's not a licensed agent. I'm licensed. But what he
Mhm,
does is he talks to people, he talks to them about finances and really getting them to the point where they're ready for a financial professional. He's been doing it almost 30 years. Because a lot of times people will come to a financial professional, but they're not ready to invest. They're not ready to make a move. They're not ready to make a decision. So he does that work in advance and then he sends them to a financial professional. What an amazing opportunity. And if I had only looked at his profile and said, oh my God, he in finances, don't y'all look at the edge over there, okay? If I had done that, I never would have made such an amazing connection. I have another young lady who's in finances, and she was skeptical. I'm not going to say her name, but she was skeptical about meeting and doing a live together because we're in the same industry. First of all, even though we both have our life insurance licenses, I'm also licensed to move money. I can actually do a little bit more than a bank can do. Okay.
mm,
And so what we noticed is that we had this conversation around collaboration that goes beyond finances. But the other thing is that we're not even licensed in the same states. So
mhm.
you may have somebody that's in the same industry. Are you licensed in the same states? And if you're licensed in the same states, do you offer the same products? And if you offer the same products, do you educate clients the same way? And if they have family or friends, are you able to connect with their family and friends and offer some of the products that somebody else may not offer? And
Well,
so a lot of people have the mindset of similar to this organization called BNI,
uh-huh.
that allows people to network, and there's only one person that does everything. And there's value if you want to pay your 700 plus dollars and be the only person that gets the referrals. That's one way to do business. But
Mhm,
there are lots of ways to do business. And it's not just around your industry. See, we're multi layered, multifaceted. We have a
mhm.
plethora of talents and experiences, and even though my profession is financial services, I'm an expert in collaboration and visibility. And that's really what I'm passionate about. And so that's really what I focus on. Most of the time, these opportunities for me personally don't lead to new clients because one of the things that's not what I'm looking for. And what you
Mhm.
focus on expands. If I were looking for clients, I would be getting that. However, what I'm looking for is opportunities to collaborate, meet new people, see how I can help them improve my visibility, improve their visibility. Because the more people know about what you do when you are an amazing provider, the things that you do that bless the community, this is eventually going to be on my platforms, and I'm on every platform. And so more people listen,
It's good.
everyone. And so more people, I don't know how to use them, but I'm on there. And so I don't know how to use this one, but I'm on here. And so more people are going to learn about LaChelle and her 15 amazing children, your
Mhm.
and all of the wonderful things that you do in the community simply because we connected in a chat.
I love that. And what you're bringing up is that abundance mindset, and this is what Mike is talking about too. He says if you don't have that abundance mindset, it's difficult for you to even begin to collaborate. The idea that there are more people to serve than what you can handle is one, and you may not be everybody's cup of tea. And that's okay. When
Mhm,
I was struggling with seeking validation from other people and people pleasing, I wanted to serve everybody. But now I realize that sometimes trying to serve everybody will take me out of my authenticity or out of my comfort zone. And I'm not willing to do that for certain things, right?
mhm,
I may be, hey, this is just how it is. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. That may be my approach. Whereas other people have the patience and the time to hold your hand, do whatever. I just don't have that kind of time. I still have 9 kids at home, right? And
Mm,
so when you realize that everybody is not going to resonate with your message, the power of collaboration grows that much stronger because you don't have to look at everybody as being a client or being just solely in your circle. You can share the wealth, so to speak, with other people. So I love that. Um,
absolutely.
he says people pleasing is a spirit killer. It is. I mean, hey, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt to prove it. So you have just jumped in. This is another thing where you said you're on these different platforms. You're not even sure how to use them all, but you're there, right? A lot of people feel like, well, I'm going to get started when I got so many followers or when I'm going to do this. What advice would you give them about just jumping in and taking the leap?
One of the things that I will say is just do it. I didn't know, for instance, on TikTok is a completely different animal. So on
Hmm.
TikTok, you need 1,000 followers to even go live.
Hmm.
And so one of the things that I did on TikTok was I posted a message, hey, how do you, because I kept clicking the live button. This was 2 years ago. And somebody said, "Oh, you have to have 1,000 followers." And I said, 1,000 followers? Oh, well. And the person said, hold on. And in less than an hour, I had 1,000 followers. I wish I had said 1,000,000, okay? Because listen, what you asking, you shall be given. So I asked for 1,000, I got 1,000. But
Amen.
one of the things that is really, really important is that not just with the followers, because a lot of times people are following you, but they're not actively engaging.
Hmm.
When I post on Facebook, for instance, I have over 7,000 followers. I don't hardly get any likes, any comments, any shares. But when you look at the analytics for the views, 10,000, 11,000, twenty
Wow.
thousand people are watching. When you look on TikTok, I have about 1,400 followers now, but I have about 11,000 interactions. And one of my videos, it has over 70,000 views. And
Wow.
so you'll notice in your analytics that people may not be interacting or engaging, but people are actually paying attention to what it is that you are doing. So it's not really about the followers. Don't let that discourage you. I have about 1,000 followers on TikTok, over 11,000 engagements. I have over 7,000 followers on Facebook. It looks like no engagement at all, but when you look in the analytics, people are watching. When you check your stories, I'm like, wow, 36 views, 100 views. And so you just get started. It took me 2 years to go live on TikTok because I was scared.
I love
I was
that.
like, "I'm not going live, show my face, my makeup, my hair, my voice. No,
It's
I'm
so
not
true.
going live." And so it occurred to me that you just have to do it. And I'm so
Mhm.
grateful for that red light on LinkedIn that drew my attention to the fact that you could go live on LinkedIn. Start in the comments, naturally move your way into the DMs. And if you want to have a live show, you already know you can connect with me for a coffee chat and I'll help you out.
I love that. And Mike is putting an article that he wrote with Substack here in the chat. I also want to tell people that this is the perfect opportunity to highlight things that you have already done, whether it's a video, whether it's an article, a newsletter. When someone has a live stream, that engagement that you do, whether you're putting that article or newsletter or video in the comments, allows the conversation to keep going beyond the live stream. You just never know what a movement can start. So, we are working on She Wins March, which is a women's history month campaign that we're doing. And I'm collaborating with men, women, everybody. You're actually going to be a panel speaker in our mastermind that we have on Wednesdays. But the idea that, we can collaborate and we can create things beyond where we're at is so important to think about. And so
Mhm.
putting your insights in the comments is so important, because people are like, well, I don't want to be, um, just vomiting my business and ideas onto everybody, but that's the most important time to do it, when it is on topic and when it makes sense, right? People welcome that because that engagement allows it to be a connection with people from your live stream and even beyond. Would you agree?
A- I do agree with that. So let me show you the masterfulness of what Mike is doing. You've
Mhm.
said Mike's name about 3 to 4 times. Right? I've said Mike LeBlanc about 3 to 4 times. Get into it, okay? Mike is on it. All right, I'm gonna say his name again. So now I'm
Right.
gonna tell you to subscribe to Mike LeBlanc on Substack.
Mhm.
When
Mhm.
people add value, they receive value. And
Yes.
he's not on here just so we can say his name, but he's adding value to the conversation. So when we're on our shows on LinkedIn Live or other platforms, there's an opportunity for you to put the comments on the screen. And a lot of times,
Mhm.
if you have a meaningful comment, people will choose your comment and they'll put your comment on the screen. If they know you, they'll say your name, they'll advise people or encourage people to connect with you.
Mhm.
And now you're building your audience in that way. But I also want to show something else that he did because you bring up a really, really, really great point, LaChelle, about
Mhm.
Mike putting a link in the comment. Don't just get on people's lives and put your little link in there, okay? Don't do that.
Mhm.
What he did is he's adding value. Notice he started interacting and engaging with the conversation first,
Mhm.
and not just one word sentence like hi, hey, okay. What can't nobody do nothing with that?
Yeah.
Exclamation point, question mark. Please stop. And then when we go back to read the comments, because
We don't even know
usually
what they were talking.
we don't even know what you're talking about. So speak in complete sentences as if you were having a conversation with someone. Now you may say, mm-hmm, yep, in a conversation, but you want to be a little more wordy in the comment section. And then if there is an opportunity that adds value, add a link to your newsletter or something like that. Allow the host to invite your comments onto the stage as well.
Mhm.
But if you aren't making any comments, if you're not actively participating, like Mike LeBlanc, right?
I love it. He says
Then,
he's here to support like a go-giver, and I was able to interview Bob Berg,
okay,
yeah, from the Go Giver. I actually did his first LinkedIn audio room with him.
wow.
So yeah, he's a good friend. We actually were both in a book collaboration. And so I was able to meet him. He was very active on Clubhouse. I used to help moderate his rooms there. So yeah, he's a really good friend. So really glad that he has that go-giving spirit because it's true. That's the power of collaboration when we learn to be a go-giver. And you also mentioned BNI. I had the opportunity to interview the founder of BNI, Ivan Meisner. Ivan Meisner and Bob Berg are good friends, so it just is a blessing to be amongst them and their wisdom and knowledge around the power of networking, because it is so important to get out of your own way. I think a lot of times we blame other people. We come up with all the excuses as to why stuff's not working, what we don't have. But when you learn how to just embrace the place where you are and listen, right, and follow the things that resonate with you. And I think another thing is just take action. If you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no.
That's right.
I remember I reached out actually through the DMs to Dr. Ivan Meisner because I had a coach at the time who said, you need to be connecting with so many people per week. And I thought, I just don't want to go through and get the suggested connections that LinkedIn gives me. So I grabbed the E Myth book by Michael Gerber. And you know how
Oh, I
people do the
love his
little
books.
yeah, you know how they do the little write-ups in the beginning, like, "This book
Yeah.
is amazing." So I went through all the people that were listed in the book and tried to find them on LinkedIn, and then had it was during, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I had did this interview with a breast cancer survivor, and so I sent this script to everybody that I could find. And Ivan Meisner was one of those people where at the time I didn't know that he was passionate about the subject because his wife had cancer. So
Mm.
he accepted my connection. And at the time, I was doing Facebook Live videos. And so he agreed to be my guest on Facebook. And I've had the pleasure of interviewing him a couple other times and on Clubhouse as well. So he is just very passionate around sharing his insight and wisdom, very humble, and I believe that. This is another thing when it comes to collaboration. We can share all the information, but it's not gonna move the needle until you actually take action on it, right?
That's
So,
true.
we can keep on informing you, we could tell you about all the books, the people, and all this, but you just have to get started, You just gotta get started. So, let me see what Mike says. LaChelle, some of that comes from buying into what we are,
Being sold regarding the
okay.
scarcity mindset.
We have agency, but it all starts with knowing thyself and loving you. Amen. It's so true. We got to know ourselves to ourselves be true. And for years, I didn't know myself. Okay. So that's
Mhm.
why it was hard for me to collaborate because I didn't know, who I was going to be a chameleon into the next minute, right? I was going to change to this and change to that. But we're done with that. I didn't put up my chameleon costume and mask and everything else associated with that. So, share with everybody the best way that they can support you. Who are some people that you want to get connected to? Because they can read your bio, you're on Substack, you're on LinkedIn. So let's share maybe a book that you're reading, something that is a little different as we close out the show.
So, one of the things that I started reading, because I believe that if you are coaching people, you should also have a coach. If you
Amen.
notice, anybody who's great in anything, whether it's tennis or basketball or football, life, money, they have coaches. And so,
Hmm.
one of the things that my coach told me was to read this book called The Mountain Is You. See, you in your own way, and you don't even
Hmm.
know it. And I said, I'm not a problem. Okay, coach. He said, read the book. I said, all right. You got to be coachable. Okay. Not chokeable, coachable. And so The Mountain Is You by Brianna Weiss, sorry, really started my journey into self-development. Self-development is so important. I read self-development books every single day. The ones that I do my book reports on, and I do book reports 7 days a week. I read about
Amen.
10 pages from a book. I'll do a book report, like a 2 to 3 sentence summary of what I read. So that's why you don't want it to be really more than 10 pages.
Hmm.
And then I internalize what area of my life has this impacted me and where do I see myself in what I just read? And then I'll do action steps. 1 to 2 actions, usually one, okay. But 1 to 2 action steps is good. So I started with Brianna Weiss, The Mountain Is You. That's a great book if you are maybe going through some personal things in life and you really want to get to the root cause and
Hmm.
just kind of get rid of some baggage. Now I'm going to tell you, she get a little bit disrespectful. Okay, now she get into it. So me and Brianna, we had a lot of love, on paper, like, "Ooh, who's she talking to like that?" And so it's that type of book that could be a
Good.
hard read if you're willing to do the hard work, because all of us have stuff. And
Mhm.
so that's where it started. And then I read a book called The Power of Consistency by
Mm.
Weldon Long. And
Mhm.
that is an amazing book for people that need to understand that discipline is going to beat motivation every day. Am I always motivated to get on live, to go in the comments, but I'm disciplined. And so
Mhm.
discipline will beat motivation every day. I said that I was going to do this thing. See, my first 10 live shows, when I started to do my show, which I do on Sundays at 6 Central Time,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I moved it 5 Central Time, 6 Eastern. When I first started doing that show, the first 8 episodes, nobody showed up.
Mhm.
But I was committed. I kept my word to myself. I was like, "Hey, y'all," as if somebody was in the room. And
Absolutely.
by the time I got to show number 9, my LinkedIn family showed up.
Mhm.
See, I didn't know them episodes 1 through 8.
Mm.
I wasn't doing it for the likes or the shares or the comments.
Mhm.
I was doing it because I said I would do it. And by the time I got to show number 9, I had met this amazing group of people. See, your reticular activation system, what
Mhm.
you focus on, that's what you're going to attract. And I always use I am statements. I am a person that people loves to do business with. I am a person that people love to engage with. I am a person that people love to interact with. I am a money magnet. I am a people magnet. And then you can be more specific. I am a positive because you don't just want all the people. I am a positive people magnet, right? I am a person that people have reciprocal relationships with. And so by affirming those things, your subconscious and your conscious mind doesn't know the difference.
Mhm.
And so if you say I am wealthy, your brain doesn't know. There's a story real quickly about a car accident, and they called the mom in to tell her that, unfortunately her child had passed away.
Mhm.
And she goes through all of the emotions. She's sad, she's screaming, she's yelling and at the hospital. And they take her into the room and they realize that that's not her daughter.
Oh my goodness.
But her mind didn't know. She had already gone through all of the emotions. What if you take that in a positive way? Your mind don't know if you're rich or poor. Live rich
Yeah,
here.
that's good. That's
And
good.
then you're going to attract those things that you want in your life because your conscious and subconscious really don't know anything except for what you tell it. So you have to
Mhm.
reframe that voice. And what I have is I have recordings of my I am statements because you have that little voice in your head. Yeah,
Mhm.
you talk too much. You're making too many comments. People think you're trying to show off. Well, then I have a recording of my I am statements, and that voice is loud, but it's my
Mhm.
voice. Because when you hear those negative thoughts, it's the sound of your voice talking to you. So those positive thoughts have to be in your voice as well. So I just push play. I am somebody in honor of Black History Month. Okay,
I
rest in peace,
love that.
Jesse Jackson. Okay. But I do my I am statements and I just listen to the recording over and over again until I feel that I'm back into that space again.
Yeah.
And so I just encourage people, if you don't know how to get started, connect with us on a coffee chat. Mike
Mhm.
LeBlanc, LaChelle Adkins, right? I don't want to mess up your
Mhm.
last name.
Yeah.
LaChelle Adkins, Coach Carrie Willis. Find us on the social media platforms.
Mhm.
Connect with us. We will help you. We will lift you up. We will support you. Or and all of us have different schedules. All of us are professionals, but we're
Mhm.
here to honor the universe in that way by making sure that we're lifting people up.
I love that. I mean, that was just a wonderful way to end our conversation today. This has just been amazing, Coach Carey. And I'm so excited that we got connected. And I love what you're saying around creating the world or the life that you want for yourself. It starts
Mhm.
with what you speak and what you believe. Usually, what you speak, you take action on, right? So, people mess themselves up because I can't do it. I don't have this. And so it paralyzes you. You
Thank
believe that you don't have what it takes, so you don't even take action. So you self fulfill that prophecy of something negative. But if you believe that you can do it, you just get started. And it's not about the big, huge moves, it's the little things that you do. You have to learn to become what it is that you want to be. And I really resonate with what you were saying around the lives. And, maybe you have a master class or maybe you have a community on some of these platforms and you just think nobody's watching. And then one day it just blows up because you've been doing the work, you've been consistent. And so you're ready to receive the harvest when it comes. So, one step at a time is what Mike is saying. And Mike, I appreciate your support with being here today. He has been leaving some amazing comments for us as we've been going. And that's one of my things. I try to stay focused. And so sometimes reading the comments, I like what happens. It's like a conversation, right?
Right.
This is how it would start when I was doing Facebook Lives. I would say, okay, I'm going to talk about this. And then somebody would make a comment. Then we go off the topic and then we try to come back. I didn't forgot everything I was saying. So, in order for me to stay on point with Coach Carey, I try to make sure that I do that. But I really appreciate your engagement, and you're more than welcome to come and be a guests on the show as well. We would love to hear your insights and appreciate that value that you've added with that article. We encourage you all to follow everybody. Another thing is if other people have been in the comments, reach out to them. Because maybe they haven't been on camera, maybe they are a little shy, but they definitely want to engage. So start with communicating with them in the comments on whatever platform you're on. So thank you guys so much for watching today. And again, I will be back next Thursday with solicited advice. And we will be available on Wednesday. We're having our first panel for Women's History Month. It is through our mastermind, and Coach Carrie is going to be one of those panelists talking about leadership and identity. So if you think that you've been getting some great insight here, you don't want to miss us on Wednesday. That's a private Zoom. So if you want to connect with us, I'll put the link also in the chat for that. But appreciate everybody for being here, and I will see you all next week. Bye for now. Thanks so much, Coach Carrie.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.